punches thrown, a royal uncle, a furious nephew, and one name at the center of it all, Meghan. That's the claim shaking the palace today. The story goes like this. At a family gathering years ago, Prince Harry snapped after hearing what Prince Andrew had been saying behind his back. Voices rose, tempers flared, and then, according to the claim, fists flew, a bloody nose, shocked faces, a scramble to pull them apart. That's the picture being painted. And as these claims explode across headlines, Harry's team fires back hard. It didn't happen. No fight. No insults about Meghan, period. So what really went down? Tonight we walk through the full story. Clear, simple, and dramatic, so you can judge for yourself. Start with the scene. Imagine a private royal event in 2013. No cameras, no microphones, only family. It's supposed to be calm, but the mood is tense. Harry is in his late 20s, just a few years from meeting Meghan. Andrew is in his 50s. Already known for his blunt tongue and big opinions, word reaches Harry that Andrew has been talking about him, and not in a kind way. The claim is that Harry stepped forward, called Andrew out for saying things behind his back, and told him to say it to his face. Andrew, not a man known for backing down, pushes back. The room tightens. Someone mutters, "Calm down." It doesn't help. The argument turns hot. Then, this is the explosive part. Punches are thrown. People rush in to split them up. Andrew is said to be left with a bloody nose. The night ends with glares, ice-cold silence, and doors closing a little harder than usual. Now, fast forward. Years pass. Harry meets Meghan. The world watches a modern love story move at royal speed. But the claims say Andrew had already given Harry blunt warnings, that Meghan was wrong for him, that the marriage wouldn't last, that Harry was making the biggest mistake of his life. That is the claim. And let's be very clear, Harry denies that Andrew ever said any of this. He denies the fight, he denies the insults, his team says the story is false, but the claim is out there and it won't go away. Why? Because it fits a larger picture people already believe, of tempers, pride, and a royal family with deep old wounds that keep reopening. Let's slow down and look at Harry in that time. He had lived years under a burning spotlight, a prince with a soldier's training and a young man's fire. He was famous for a short fuse with paparazzi. He was also famous for heart, charity work, army service, real warmth with the public. Both things can be true. A good man can still have anger, and in his own book later on, he would say he got into a physical clash with his brother William during a fight about Meghan. That was his story in his own words. So when people hear a claim that he also fought Andrew, they say, maybe it sounds like the kind of thing that could happen, but could is not did. That matters. We need to hold both thoughts in our heads at once. The claim feels believable, and it is still only a claim. Harry rejects it. We keep that balance as we move. Now look at Andrew. For years he enjoyed status, comfort, and the ease that comes with being the Queen's son. He also built a reputation, rightly or wrongly, for being entitled, sharp-tongued, and hard on staff. Over time, scandals tied to his friendships and choices crushed his public standing. He stepped back from royal duties. He lost public roles and honors. He became a symbol of what the monarchy wants to avoid: shame and distraction. So when a book or a broadcast says Andrew said this or Andrew did that, a lot of people nod and think, sounds like him. But again, we keep our standards, we stick to what is claimed, what is denied, and what is proven. It keeps us honest. Take the alleged comments about Meghan. The claim says Andrew told Harry the marriage would not last and called Meghan an opportunist. If that was said, it would be cruel, rude, and arrogant. And it would hit Harry where he is most protective, his wife. The fastest way to make Harry see red is to insult Meghan. He has made that clear from the start. But Harry says those words were never spoken. He says Andrew never said that to him. So we are left with two roads. Either a raw family moment did happen in private, and only a small circle knows the truth, or it did not happen, and rumor has blown smoke into a room where there was no fire. That is the core tension of this story. Why does this matter now? Because it raises a bigger question. Who inside the royal family truly stands with whom? Even with their own problems, Harry and William seem to agree on one thing: Andrew has been a problem for the family brand. Reports for years have said William wants Andrew moved out of the center of things, out of the big house, out of sight. Harry, in his own way, has pointed at what looks like a double standard. Heavy judgment for him and Meghan, but soft handling for Andrew for a long time. If you are Harry, that feels like a slap in the face. If you are William, trying to safeguard the crown, that feels like dead weight tied to your ankle. Two different men, two different paths, one shared frustration, Andrew. Now, step back and look at the pressure cooker that is royal life. Everyone smiles in public, cameras flash, people cheer, but behind the curtains, human nature, jealousy, pride, old grudges. Sharp words at long tables. That is any big family, only louder. The royal family is not a fairy tale. It is a workplace, a dynasty, and a family all at once. That is a hard mix. In that world, it is easy to see how a few nasty words could break the thin ice under years of tension. It's easy to see how a push could turn into a punch. It's also easy to see how rumor could grow legs and sprint. What is harder to see, because we can't, is what truly happened when the doors were closed. Let's revisit that 2013 moment one more time, slowly. The claim says Andrew ran his mouth. Harry confronted him. Andrew brushed him off. Harry said, "Say it to my face." Andrew smirked, or maybe he snapped back. Two men who never respected each other much stood too close for too long. Then it happened. A shove, a fist, a gasp, a hand over a nose. Stop it! Footsteps, people pulling them apart, breathing heavy, and then silence. A family that must live above the clouds, forced to look down and admit they are human like the rest of us. It is a vivid scene. It sticks in your mind. That is why the claim travels so fast. But now, shift to Harry's side. His statement is simple. None of it happened. No fight, no insults, no bloody nose. He is ready to take that denial to court if needed. He calls the claims damaging. He calls them false. If he is right, then this whole thing is a stain built out of thin air. In that case, what we are watching is not a royal brawl, but a royal smear. It would be yet another example of how stories, once printed, move faster than the truth. Harry has seen that movie many times. He hates that movie, and that is why he pushes back so hard. So where does Meghan fit into this? At the heart, she is the spark people point to, fair or not, when they explain why relationships inside the family cracked. But listen closely to the claim, and you will notice something. The tension between Harry and Andrew did not start with Meghan. It started years before. If Andrew really had a habit of being rude to staff, of throwing his weight around, of speaking poorly about other family members, then Harry didn't need Meghan to dislike him. Meghan might have poured fuel on an old fire. She did not strike the first match. The claim says Andrew was even rude about William's wife, Catherine. If true, that alone would put him crossways with both brothers. And that is before any talk of Meghan at all. Now look at the brothers. Harry and William, once so close, are now distant. We know that from their own words and actions. Yet amid the distance, they share a rare point of unity, the belief that Andrew's era is over. For William, that means planning a future where Andrew is not a face of the crown. For Harry, that means asking, why did the institution bend so far to shield him, but not lift a finger for us? These are two different problems that rhyme. They fuel a quiet, strange alliance. They also fuel deep hurt that is hard to heal. What does King Charles do in the middle of this? He tries to hold steady. He must balance mercy and order. He must care for a brother who fell from grace, a son who walked away, and an heir who wants reform. That is not a job for the faint of heart. If the fight claim is false, he must be careful not to dignify it with public panic. If there is a grain of truth, he must prevent a second blow, this time to the crown's image. Either way, he prefers this to be handled off stage. But we are not off stage anymore. The curtain is gone. The world reads every whisper in real time. So, what is true? Here is the cleanest way to hold it. There is a claim that Harry punched Andrew during a family argument in 2013, and that Andrew later insulted Meghan to Harry's face. Harry denies both. That is the core. Around that core sit known facts about temper, pride, and past clashes inside this family. Around that sits public anger toward Andrew for scandals that pushed him out of royal life. Around that sits Harry's life choice to protect his wife, Buff, and kids from a system he says wounded him. These layers make the claim feel real, even if it is not. That is why this story is so sticky. And let's talk feelings for a moment, not just facts and claims. If you are Harry, you are tired. You are tired of seeing your wife's name used as a weapon. You are tired of seeing old men lecture you about duty while they dodge accountability. You are tired of being told to take it on the chin. At some point, a man says, enough. That's when he draws a line and says, this is false. Stop it. If you are Andrew, you are cornered. Your power is gone, your name is heavy. In that corner, some men go soft and say little. Others go hard and double down. Andrew, by nature, is not soft. If he did say harsh things to Harry, it would fit his past tone. If he did not, he will still keep quiet. Either way, he is not the one to break the silence now. And if you are William, you are focused on the future. You need peace. You need calm. You need the crown to look clean. This kind of story makes your job harder. It keeps eyes on a past you want to move beyond. It keeps your brother far away. It keeps your uncle in the news. It steals time you want to spend on duty. This raises the next question. Does any of this move us closer to reconciliation? Not today. A fresh headline about fists and blood does not make a phone call easier. Lawsuits do not bring brothers together. Angry denials do not melt pride. If there is to be peace one day, it will come in small private steps. A quiet message, a short meeting, a shared plan to protect the next generation from the mistakes of the last. But a story like this sets that back. It turns family pain into public theater. It makes every olive branch look political. It makes trust, the one thing they need most, feel impossible. So what happens next? Likely this. Lawyers send letters. Papers stand by their reporting. Publishers point to sources. Harry's team keeps the denial firm. The palace says nothing. Commentators talk. The internet argues. Then the storm passes. But the marks it leaves, they stay. And the next storm finds the same cracks, the same weak points, the same old patterns. Because what we are seeing is not just one claim or one denial. We are seeing a royal family in a long, slow struggle over truth, love, pride, and power. Let's ground this even more simply. There are 3 pictures that can be true at the same time. Picture 1. A private fight happened in 2013, and only a few people know what was said and done. Picture 2. There was no fight at all, and this is a tale spun from bits and rumors to sell books and get clicks. Picture 3. Even if this fight never happened, it feels real because the family is fractured, and we have seen flashes of temper and pain before. In the minds of many viewers, Picture 3 pulls Picture 1 and 2 together and says, I can believe it. That is the danger of a reputation. Once people think you can do a thing, you will hear they believe you did it, even when you didn't. Where does that leave Meghan? In the same place she has been since day one, at the center of the storm, while trying to build a quiet life. For Harry, she is the line in the sand. Cross it, and he will come for you with words, lawyers, or ice-cold distance. For the institution, she is the mirror that showed the parts of royal life that many didn't want to see. Race, class, control, and who gets protection and who does not. For Andrew, if the claim is true, she was an easy target for a cruel warning. If the claim is false, she is yet again pulled into a rumor she didn't ask for. Either way, she pays a price. Let's finish by looking at the crown itself. The late queen lived by 6 words. Never complain, never explain. That code kept the magic alive in a slower time. But the modern world is a storm of posts and push alerts. Silence does not always protect you anymore. It can leave a vacuum that rumor fills. That is the royal family's hard lesson in this era. When claims like this land, the old rule says say nothing. Harry's rule says fight back. Those 2 rules crash into each other again and again, and every crash makes the crown feel just a little less steady. Will the monarchy survive this age of raw truth and hot rumor? Likely yes. It is old, it bends, it adapts. But to truly breathe again, it needs less noise inside the house, it needs fewer secret wars, and fewer sharp tongues. It needs time for wounds to close, for hot heads to cool, for the next generation to grow away from the fire. That means Andrew fading into the background for good. It means Harry and William finding, if not friendship, then a ceasefire. It means a world that stops paying to watch them bleed. Until then, this is where we are. A claim of punches thrown, an uncle with a bloody nose, a nephew defending his wife and his name, a denial as hard as granite, and a public that cannot look away. Maybe one day we'll learn exactly what happened in that room in 2013. Maybe we won't. But we do not need every hidden detail to see the larger truth. This is a family that has lost its footing with each other. They are trying to balance on a floor that keeps shaking, and until they steady it, every rumor will land like a hammer, and every denial will sound like a shout in a storm. For now, hold this in your mind. 2 princes, a lifetime of pressure, and a moment where pride may have turned into pain. Whether fists flew or not, the damage is real, not to a nose, but to trust. And in a family built on tradition, trust is the crown you cannot see. When that crown cracks, the jewels on the head begin to wobble. That is the danger here. Not the story of a punch, but the story of a bond that may not survive another blow. This is the royal reality. Not a fairy tale, not a perfect picture, just people, flawed, proud, and hurting, trying to live inside an institution that demands they look like marble when inside they are flesh and blood. And flesh and blood will always bruise more easily than stone. Let's go deeper. Picture the code that used to hold this family together. It was simple. Keep calm, keep quiet, keep it in the room. The old rule said, we smile in public, we settle our business in private. For decades that worked. Secrets stayed sealed. Rumors faded because there were no phones in every pocket, no feeds to refresh, no podcasts breaking down every blink and breath. But that world is gone. Now a sentence can travel the globe in a minute. A claim can become a headline before the next cup of tea is poured. That is the stage where this story lives. A single image, an uncle with a bloody nose, a nephew with clenched fists, can loop in the public mind even if it never happened. The modern age turned the royal whisper into a roar. Think about how a story like this is born. First, there is a source, maybe someone close, maybe someone once close, maybe someone who heard from someone else at a party 10 years ago. Then there is a writer who believes that source, or wants to believe them, or sees a pattern that makes the claim feel true. Then there is an editor who knows the public will click. Then there is a paper that enjoys the tension. Then there are the fans and the critics and the trolls who share it like wildfire. By the time the person at the center wakes up and says no, that did not happen. The story already has a life of its own. That is not a royal problem. That is an internet problem. But when the people involved wear crowns, the problem explodes. Now, imagine that 2013 room again, but change one thing. Imagine anyone choosing to walk away. Andrew could have shrugged and said, "Not tonight." Harry could have laughed and said, "You know what? I'm not doing this." A cousin could have stepped between them and made a joke that cut the tension. A glass could have clinked. A song could have started. The night could have softened. If that happened, there is no claim, no headline, no script like this one. One small choice can save a whole family from 10 years of trouble. That is true in any house. It is more true in a house where the walls have ears. But small choices are hard when old pain is hot. Harry carries the weight of a boy who walked behind his mother's coffin with the world watching. He carries the weight of years fighting cameras. He carries the weight of a husband and father who promised to protect his wife and children at any cost. Andrew carries the weight of a man who used to snap his fingers and watch doors open, only to find those doors locked now. He carries the weight of disgrace, of loud shame, of quiet rooms. He is not used to no, he's not used to silence. Put those weights in the same room and the air gets heavy, words sink fast, faces burn, pride does not bend. You can feel how a spark, real or imagined, could catch. Here's another angle people don't talk about: the younger royals and the next generation watching all this unfold. Beatrice and Eugenie see their father's name dragged again and again. William and Catherine try to keep their children's world calm while their uncle's name trends. Harry and Meghan live oceans away, telling themselves they built a safer life. Yet the storm still finds them in the night. These kids will grow up and Google their family. They will find the fights, the claims, the denials, the memes, the jokes. They will have to make sense of it. That is why this matters. It is not just gossip. It sets the tone for the next chapter, for sons and daughters who did not choose any of this. Let's look at the palace machine. When a claim hits, the machine has 3 gears. Gear 1, ignore. Let it pass. This works when the claim is small or the proof is weak. Gear 2, brief quietly. Let a source close to the palace nudge a paper in a safer direction. This works when the goal is to shape, not shout. Gear 3, deny on the record hard. This is rare. It is loud. It says, "We will not let this stand." Harry chose Gear 3 here. That tells you how much this story cut. It used his wife's name. It stamped him as violent with someone he already does not respect. It brought back the old images he hates. So he went hard. Some will say that only feeds the story. Others will say it draws the line. Both can be true. Now, consider the choice in front of King Charles. He can act on Andrew or wait. Acting means pushing Andrew further out. Smaller home, tighter budget, no balcony, no gray area. Waiting means hoping the noise fades, keeping the family peace, avoiding a public blow-up with a brother while fighting his own health battles. William's instinct is to act. He thinks about brand and burden. He sees a future where every scandal costs the crown trust, and trust is the only currency that matters. Harry's instinct is also to act, but in a different way. Speak, call it out, refuse to swallow it. Charles's instinct is to hold the circle and keep it moving. 3 men, 3 instincts. One problem: the longer Andrew is a question mark, the more questions the public will ask. There is also a quiet cost that never makes a headline: staff. The people who drive, plan, cook, schedule, manage. When rumors fly, when lawyers write, when phones ring day and night, staff carry that weight. They pick up the pieces, they rebuild plans, they get yelled at by strangers who think they control everything. A healthy royal house protects its staff from the storm. An unhealthy one lets the storm blow through every room. Which house is this right now? On some days, it looks steady. On days like this, it looks like a tent in the wind. Let's try a simple thought test. Strip away the titles, strip away the castles. What do you have? An uncle who thinks he knows better, a nephew who will not be disrespected, a brother who wants order, a father who wants peace, a wife who deserves dignity, children who deserve quiet. Is there any family watching this who doesn't recognize that picture? This is not alien, it is human. And the human way out is boring but real. Truth told softly, pride swallowed, boundaries respected, and time given. That is the cure. But it is the hardest thing to dose when cameras are waiting and egos are sore. People ask, why does the public still care? Because the royals are a mirror for the country, and the country has been through years of strain. People see their own families in the cracks, brothers who stopped speaking, in-laws who never got along, elders who will not apologize, old rules that do not work in a new world. The palace gives those stories a golden frame, but the picture inside is common. When a claim of a punch becomes front-page news, it is not just curiosity. It is many small personal stories whispering, I know that feeling. That is why these tales never die. They connect. Now, imagine a better ending to this chapter. Imagine a joint line, not public, sent through private channels from Charles, William, and Harry together. We disagree on many things, but we agree on this. Our family will handle our disputes privately and with respect. We ask others to respect that. No fireworks, no big show, just a signal that the temperature is dropping. Then, a quiet plan for Andrew's future that is firm but kind. Then, a private path for the brothers to meet without leaks. A walk, no staff, no phones, 40 minutes. That is all it would take to turn the ship a few degrees. Will it happen today? No. Could it happen this year? Maybe. And maybe is more hope than this family has had in a long time. Until then, we live with the echo of this claim. We will hear it again. It will be repackaged, retold, folded into new stories. Each time, remember the core truth we said at the start. There is a claim. There is a denial. Around that, there is history that makes the claim feel possible, and a present that makes the denial feel necessary. You can hold both without losing your balance. You can say, this might have happened, and also say, we do not know. In a world that shouts, that is a strong, calm place to stand. And if you still want a picture to keep in your mind, let it be this. Not a fist or a bloody nose, but a table, 3 chairs, a pot of tea that has gone lukewarm because no one wanted to be the first to pour. Words waiting, pride waiting. Phones turned face down. One person clears his throat, another nods. Then someone says the first honest sentence of the night. I don't want to fight you. I want this to end. It is not dramatic. It will not trend, but it is the only move that wins. So we end where we began, with a storm of words and a family at the center. The claim is loud, the denial is firm. The past is messy. The future is unwritten. Between those facts sits the quiet work that will decide everything. What they say to each other when no one is listening. If they choose well, the noise will fade, the house will steady, and the next headlines will be about service, not scandal. If they choose badly, then more rumors will come, more books will sell, and more trust will break. It is that simple. It is that hard.